Dear friends, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Mohammad Ali Aldahrawi, an assistant professor in the field of banking and financial markets. I have done my PhD at Lord Ashcroft International Business School in Cambridge. In this video, I'm going to explain one of the most important concepts which are used in finance, which is time value of money. I'm sure that all of us have some questions which are that why the time value of money is important or why we should learn how to calculate the value of our money through time. Actually, this concept is important because the value of money is affected by many factors which are going to move through time. For example, the value of our money or what's known as purchasing power, it affects by the change in rate of interest and the rate of inflation as well as it affects by the technological improvements or innovation. So first of all, we are going to explain how we can calculate future value for one amount, and then we will move to know how to compute the present value of one amount. To begin, let us assume that you have an opportunity to get $1 today or to get it in the future. Which option would you prefer? Logically, the best thing is to receive $1 today because as it's well known that $1 to be received today worth more than the dollar to be received in the future, and here we can put a question mark and asking why. Because if we get the dollar today and invested it for 1 year, we could earn interest on it and eventually protecting our capital from the impact of inflation or the fluctuations in the rate of interest. And here, before we begin, we have to illustrate some important terminologies which are going to be used in our formula. And here we can see the PV, which refers to the time value of money or the beginning amount, and the I symbol relates to the rate of interest, and the INT, it means the total amount of earned interest, and it is calculated by multiplying the beginning amount or the present value by the rate of interest. And here we can see the future value for n here is the number of years. So the future value equal the present value plus the amount of earned interest. And in this video we will see another formula of how to calculate future value. Here we can see the timeline, which is considered as an important technique to illustrate the term time value of money. Here we can see 0, which is time 0, which is today in other words, and here the cash flow 0, actually it's the cash outflow if we are going to compute future value. And the I is the rate of interest. Here the first year the cash flow to be received after 1 year, and here the cash flow to be received after 2 years, and eventually the cash flow to be received in the third year or the last year. And here we can see also the timeline for 2 years for the I rate of interest, and here the timeline for 3 years, and this timeline is to some extent differs because it deals with ordinary annuity. Ordinary annuities are a series of equal payments that to be done by the end of each year, and the best example for these payments is the mortgage payments, which is supposed to be paid or done by the end of each period. And here we are going to elaborate how to compute future value for one amount. And let us suppose this example. If you are planning to make a deposit of $100 for 3 years and the offered rate of interest is 10%, and now you are required to calculate the amount of the aggregated value that you will receive in the future, or you have to calculate the future value of this amount. Easily we have to employ this formula: future value for n number of years, which is 3, equal present value or the beginning amount multiplied by 1 plus I, which is 10%, the rate of interest, to the power of n, which is 3 years in our example. And easily the answer will be 133.10. And actually, since we are dealing with compounding rate of interest, the best thing is to explain the future value that we will get by the end of each period, just to make it simple to understand. For example, the $100 we are going to deposit for 3 years. After the first year, it will equal present value, which is 100, multiplied by 1 plus I, which is 10%, to the power of 1, because we are going to calculate the future value to be received after 1 year, and the answer will be $110. And now, if we ask to calculate the future value to be received after 2 years, we have to multiply this amount, which is the future value we just received by the end of the first year, by 1 plus 10% to the power of 1, since it's a compounding rate of interest, and the answer will be $121. And here is the first method, while the second method, it can be calculated through multiplying our principal, which is $100, by 1 plus 10% to the power of 2, and as we see, we will get the same answer. And the same for the third year, we have to multiply 121 by 1 plus 10% to the power of 1, or to multiply the $100 by 1 plus 10% to the power of 3, and easily we will get the same answer. And there is another method of how to compute future value of one amount, which is through using the future values table of one amount or $1. As we see here, the rate of our interest is 10%, so we go under 10% for the third year, and we will get this number, which is 1.33. So we have to multiply this number by our present value to get the future value, which is this number. And now we are going to move to learn how we can compute present value of one amount. What do we mean by present value or discounted cash flow? For example, if you expected that by the end of or after 5 years you will receive a cash flow of $5,000, how much this amount will equal today? Meaning that we have to discount the cash flow we will receive after 5 years for 5 years. And here is a simple example which assume that you are expecting to receive a cash flow of 127.63 after 5 years. What is the present value of this cash flow if the offered rate of interest is 5%? In this case, we have to discount this future cash flow, which is 127.63 for 5 years. For example, by the end of the 4th year, you will receive this amount. So we have to employ this equation: present value equal future value, sorry, it's divided by, not multiplied, divided by 1 plus I to the power of n. Therefore, to get the present value in the 4th year, we have to divide this number by 1 plus 5% to the power of 1, because from 5 to 4 it's just 1 year, so we have to discount this number just for 1 period, just for 1 year. And here for the 3rd year, if you are expected to receive this amount after 5 years, how much this amount will equal by the end of the 3rd year? Therefore, in this case, we have to discount this future cash flow for 2 years, because the difference between 5 and 2 equals 3. And we will get this number through dividing this amount by 1.5% to the power of t. And for the 2nd year, we have to divide this amount by 1.5% to the power of 3. And at the end of the 1st year, to the power of 4. And today, which is 0, we have to discount this future cash flow for 5 years. And there is another method, which is through using the table, and we have to employ this formula, which is present value equal future value multiplied by present value inflation factor for I, which is the rate of interest, and for n, which is the number of years. As in our example, the rate of interest was 5%, and we go here to the 5 years, we will get this number, which is 0.784. And easily we have to multiply this number by that one, and easily we will get $100. Thank you for watching, and wait me in the coming videos to learn how to compute future value as well as present value annuities. As well as I would like to invite you to visit my YouTube channel by the name of Dr. Mohammad Aldahrawi. Thank you. Have a nice day.